Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, and this is the Grumpy Old Guy Gaming channel. As usual, your favorite support role in a cast of one here. Not really feeling the best, absolutely. I'm not sure how well this is going to go, or how long this is going to go. But I find myself in a scenario where it's Wednesday morning and I don't have a ton going on right now. Schedule is kind of light this morning, and I got up. Got a bit of sleep yesterday, feeling as good as I possibly can. Right now, I got a bit of a tooth thing going on, so I apologize if the audio is a little wonkier than usual. But kind of feel like doing some gaming. So we're diving back into Fragment. Grab my Blademaster. Nothing wrong with a little 99 running. Let's just see what we can get out of the servers today. Let's start with Crab server. I've been farming for a specific rare, just to add to the sword collection. So I think we'll start there as a nice warm-up run. Get the fingers going, and then we'll just bop server to server and grab a field and run. Pretty sure we're set up items-wise. I got on and played a few yesterday, so not totally rusty. And the beautiful thing about Fragment is it's very much a pick up and play game. So going into the warp history, we're going to start with a nice, easy level 7 fire field. This is turning into another one of these rares that I just can't for the life of me seem to pull. I think those are turning into my favorite. Of course, if you're familiar with the channel, you already know my struggles with certain rares in this game. If not, I will tell you that BT's wand cost me over a week to get, and the copy I farmed wasn't even for me. I was actually gifted a copy, and that's what I'm running with my Blademaster these days. Physical attack just can't be beat. Just going to give myself a speed boost here. If we pick up Rig Game and Rig Same, that's a bonus. Already a bit of a bonus, but I'm not terribly worried about it. This is, of course, one of the vaunted crab farming dungeons. And we are going after Steel Blade, the Blademaster weapon. But more than likely, we are going to be pulling a water wand. Not going to be bothering with the prizes or anything. As you could see, I was a little off on that one. For bee armies here. And again, I overshoot my mark. They successfully poisoned me. Not really terribly worried about that. Actually, if we pulled Rig Same out of a portal, it would pretty much take care of that. What do you know? Yes, say it, and it happens. We have one more portal to go as far as combat. This is just going to be some goblins. Get 6 of them there. We'll pick up the virus core, because virus cores are useful. There's an H for those who are wondering, and survey says water wand. So yeah, I've been farming that for a little while now. Still haven't got it. I think upwards of 2 hours at a clip I've gone. That was one session. Just things to do in the middle of the night, I guess. I'm not going to bore you guys with all of that, but we will call that our crab dungeon run. Take a moment here to make sure our items are topped off. I know we didn't use any healing elixirs or anything of that type, but always good to stop when you can get to a shop where you can pick up your items. I'll apologize in advance. Day's just kind of getting going here. So if you hear any background noise, it's the fam just starting to get up and moving. And yeah, quality 5 minutes into crab server. Heading to Lunaris Terrace next, level 16 area server. Got Dunloriag as the root town. Of course, the 2020 fragment player in me sees Dunloriag and instantly thinks Mackerel, which I do believe is on the docket for our tour if we make it that far today. We will be making it to a level 17 field this time, resonating Soul Fate Castle, so we're escalating a little bit, but very much on the easy side for us. Of course, this character maxed out in levels, so no experience to be gained at any route. Certainly not impossible to die. An ambush on Lunaris Terrace. Got some Menhir shenanigans going on. Got some Scarlet Kings. It just wouldn't be a Menhir shenanigan without that. Speaking of, we'll take care of that one remote. What kind of loot we getting here? The Hanged Man. Make that 2. Throw our speed charm on. There we go, a couple more Scarlet Kings. If a treasure chest pops up around me, I'll pick it up, and there's an obligatory Twilight Onion because I was in the field. Not going to worry about it if they come off after the battle, though. Like, got places to be. Three for 3 on that combo attack, and out we go. Just a few more portals here. Don't think we'll see a Spring of Mist on a fire field. Seems a little too hot here for that particular feature. Honestly, don't know if they spawn on fire fields. I would assume they do. Maybe only specific ones. See him in near sneaking up on us in the background. A little samurai dude. The wandering monsters are out in force on this field. That, again, for those of you who are looking for a place to run today, is Resonating Soul Fate Castle on the Lunaris Terrace server. Got a symbol there, giving us a little attack accuracy. Definitely not sad about that. Pretty sure we're at 99 either way, but every little bit helps. If only on an emotional support level. Sometimes if you believe it, you can do it. Was about to head in, and more wandering monsters. So let's take care of the Ochimusha. And this poor little Menhir that seems to be chasing us around in circles. It got stuck. Seems like it ran right into the wooden spikes there. Now I think we're clear to go in the dungeon. And I do believe we've already spent more time clearing that field than we spent in Crab Server entirely. If not, it's darn close. Okay, not the biggest first level. Usually a pretty good indicator that it's going to be a smaller dungeon. Run our typical dungeon crawling rules. If I see a portal, I'm going to go for that portal. I'm going to go for the full clear. But I'm not really worried about outlying treasure chests or whatnot. Again, I'll pick up what I come across. But I'm certainly not going to go out of my way for it. Ice Helm out of a fire field. That's got some classic Final Fantasy written all over it. Pass up on what is likely my several hundredth golden egg. Twin kill some near there and make our way back down to the bottom of this floor. I'll also have to apologize if my camera direction is amateur hour. Been playing a bit of White Knight Chronicles for the PlayStation 3. And I didn't think to invert the camera controls there. Instead, I just kind of deal with one setup for one game and another setup for another. Couple goblin mages, no stress there. And that just gives us some stairs down. Very much enjoyed that game. It has a fragment type feel for me in it, and the fact that you're running around in a party of 3. You can create your character in the story mode. You're pretty much just a side character while everyone else does their thing. So it has those feels. The system is actually a bit more what you'd expect, I guess, out of an MMO style game of that time, where you have the old task bars of shortcuts that you just navigate with the direction buttons. I mentioned it to Emus, and he compared it to Final Fantasy XI, which fairly high praise because 11 I know still has a bit of a player base. White Knight Chronicles, I think, is one of those games that just never got off to that level. Saw some stairs down there, so we're just gonna circle back here and make sure the left side portals are taken care of. Looks like it's just one. But that also looked like a potential statue chest there. Nice and quick. I think at this point, Fragment is a purely nostalgic experience created of itself for me. For instance, when I run a dungeon like this, the first thing I think of is Spooky's old Halloween dungeon from back in 2020. Pick up a Nodachi and make our way down to the 3rd floor. I feel this stream is going to be on the lengthier side as long as life doesn't get in the way. Kind of try and make up for the infrequency of these things by putting out a longer form thing every now and then. Not that I ever was good at quick, punchy sort of uploads. Or, announcing things ahead of time. Got a few safe rooms here to start off the third floor before we get to a portal. More Goblin Whiz. I think I called them mages the first time. Should really get my Goblin spellcasting classifications more accurate. Treasure chest and a portal in this room. The killer snaker pushed itself off screen as I hit the combo. Gotta love those little moments. Two Goblin Whiz and two Ochimusha. Actually missed the one, so we'll take care of it magically. Of course, if you're familiar with the build, you'll notice we're not reaching fully into our bag of tricks, because it's just not needed right now. Nice thing about the Goblin Whiz is it's not fire tolerant, so we'll take those out. Couple more portals here in the third, and we've seen our stairs down for a little while here, so certainly getting a fair amount of bang for our buck on this dungeon. Another killer snaker gone with a crit. Double damage is always nice. Fire Tempest, and we have a little portal at the bend here before making our way down. Bearcat Egg, yet another great reference to another fantastic member of this little corner of the digital world. By that I mean the fragment community. Getting at least 5 floors here. Which, judging by that first floor, I really wouldn't have guessed. I would have figured 3 or 4. So already I'm in prime form for missing every supposition I make. Back to the Scarlet Kings, and back to the entrance before the door can open. Looks like we got at least one portal down there. Yep, just one. So it's a whole lot of running and not a lot of payoff. Pretty full boat, though. 2 Scarlet Kings and 2 Ochimusha. Take care of them in one shot. And now back up for the portal next to the exit down to 5. Bearcat Egg saying hello, or more accurately, saying Bearcat Egg. More Fire Tempest. And down we go to 5. Another potential statue chest, and as an added bonus, I'm not seeing any large rooms and I'm already seeing 2 dead ends, so I'm going to put the odds rather high here that this is our final floor of this dungeon. Certainly kept us entertained for a while. Let's see how it finishes. Metal Emperors. You do love a new monster sighting on the final floor. And this is, in fact, the final floor. Another killer snaker. You know what? We'll come back for this one. We were still in the room. It's not that big a deal. We got a nice winter coat out of it, something fluffy. Especially around here, winter can drop on you at the drop of a hat. Don't expect that today, as the forecast for here is sunny and in the 80s. Got some chicken and some steak I plan on grilling later. Got some yard work I gotta get to first. All that and more. But first, little video game time. Nothing wrong with that. Statue chest number 2 of the stream sees a flare guard, a grunty doll, and a health drink. Probably not going to be holding on to any of that stuff too long term. And once again, I don't think there's anything drastic I have to pick up, so I can do my shopping back in town here at Lunara's Terrace. Apologies, needed more coffee. Sneak out before the monsters got to us. Not that we're in any danger here, just nice to get back to these earlier towns every now and then. With the exception of Makanu, I really can't think of a root town that wouldn't get old after a while. Just something timeless about it. Think the amount of time they spent there in Sign. Again, a nostalgia thing. Dot hack and nostalgia just kind of go hand in hand. Okay, that's 2 servers down. Let's keep rolling. Obviously, if somebody else hops in a server, I will respectfully stay out of the way there. It's been a little bit of an active time, as is typical for the fragment base. It's never really hopping busy, but there's been some steady activity and some newer servers. Here, of course, a modern day legend, the Bearcat server. Bringing us to our 3rd root town of the morning. Get a beautiful shot of the jiggly metallic jello water of Carmina Gadalica. Nice nighttime scene. And our random word is taking us to a level 20 woodfield. Plush purring lasagna. I feel like we're driving at a very specific comic strip on that. Get a grassland woodfield. Yet another fan favorite. Some Lambada knives, and a general armor, not to be confused with an armor general. Some games reuse assets. Some games reuse assets up to and including the words in a name. Pair of Phantom Wings there got lucky that they both went down to a physical attack. Of course, the 70-some level difference probably didn't hurt, but those are enemies that typically go down easier to magic. As you could see, that's a Migan ROM, and again, 70-something level difference, but we're hitting for nearly 500 per shot there. Off of the 20 SP spell, you kind of like that. Kind of like that output. Got another general armor coming up. Well, my goodness. The general army was on the move. With some fancy steps, judging by the Lambada knife. Got a few more portals to clear out here. That one's just a box with the devil in it. There we are. Heard the general armor moving, just wasn't sure from where. Caught it in the middle of all these little scenery parts. I was expecting a treasure chest there, honestly, just the way it was opening. We do have a Spring of Mist here. We may try upgrading a weapon if we have it in inventory. Which again, if you're fairly low on level, and especially if you're soloing, probably not the best idea in this field, as there seem to be a host of wandering monsters about. They will attack you while you're in that dialogue. Don't know why I'm key iteming that. And there you could see it. General armor and a phantom wing that hit us with a crit. Good on it. Take care of that on the quicker side. Pick up the death and then use a fortune wire on this risky treasure to make sure that the death just stays the name of an item. Let's make our way down to the spring, shall we? Take a look at what we have pulled. Oh, no we shan't. Only got boots so far. We'll look for something in the dungeon, or off of whatever's making that racket. It's a general armor, and it's behind us, and it's got a friend. Well, let's put it to sleep, and now that they're together, Migan Rom the entire group. As I was saying, let's get to the dungeon before we were so rudely interrupted. Portals in every direction to start off this floor. And we get some wood harpies. Lambada knife hidden in there. All I saw was bird, honestly. Got another dead end on the other side, so we'll take care of that before heading down to our eventual second floor stairs. More Lambada knife, this time with a phantom wing. And they're both dropping treasures, so we get some Gale Breath and a Green Gale. All kind of spell scrolls here. Great way to build up that early game stash. Of course, you need all the money you can in the first 20 levels. Get those items set up aplenty. And after level 20 or so, you could start running some crab farming dungeons, maybe party up with some folks, get some real XP going. And from that point, it's a little balance of which level areas are going to run your items and which ones won't. Second floor here. Very linear dungeon thus far. I know we had wings off of that first floor, but they were just one dead-end room on each side. So when I say linear, I mean a real clear path through. Got a fire witch here, and we will fight fire with fire. Never let it be said that I let a cliche go to waste. Picking up all kind of treasure here. Got some death, more footwear, and more spell scrolls. I wonder if this is going to be yet another dungeon where I don't pick up a weapon after saying I'll hit the Spring of Mist. That'd be twice in about a month it's happened to me. Fire Witch is just kind of in spectator mode there. Not complaining. One more portal before our stairs down. Immature Egg certainly wants its presence known. And we got no time for most of this portal. Finish with a nice elemental hit on the wood harpy that got away. And it gives us a little bit of risky business to attend. Wind Axe finally giving us a weapon and a chance to say hi to the smiley blob of doom out in the puddle. But we've got rooms to go before we sleep, and floor 3 is looking like a fun one. Got a couple rooms down here before making our way right. Didn't rebuff, so if we run out of Rigim or Rigsame, that's just a risk we'll have to take. Or, we could take 10 seconds and put it back on. It's no big deal. Couple more wood harpies down as I fail to be able to say a word. And here's our final portal of the 3rd floor. Easy peasy. On to floor 4. Getting things set up here. Got the Death and a Gale Breath. I guess better than a Gale and the Death Breath. And some Laugh Blades, so we have a little bit of variety in our weapon of choice. More General Armor and Fire Witch combo. I'm assuming that's a Fire Witch. It could always be something else. The low-level witches tend to have a couple areas where you see multiple elements in the same pool, so that one definitively a Fire Witch, though. And there goes a General Armor. Once again, staring down some steps. So we're getting 5 floors of fun here. Can't really verify by times, but this one seems to be going a little faster than the last. Picking up another fluffy winter coat. Here, my son's sort of yammering away upstairs. Don't know if that's bleeding into the audio yet or not. I'm sure he'll get progressively louder, as he tends to do when he's in his own little world. You know how that goes. Pair of Lambada knives out early there. Got a portal in this big honkin' hallway. And yeah, it looks like our deepest dungeon yet. We have a floor 6 on the way. But first we got to get through all this jazz. Gale Breath, leave that risky treasure for another day, or watch it disappear as we leave the room. I suppose that's the more accurate statement. One more portal to go here in the 5th. Was just gonna simple basic attack them, but I got stuck in an attack combo, and at that point there's really nothing to do but use a skill. It's weird that you can't just hit the circle button, but you can totally pull off a flashy combo. But hey, quirks of the game. Sixth floor, this is giving us some small to medium room vibes. Also, our first one that gives us distinct choices on a left-right. Through most of this dungeon, if there has been a deviating direction, it's just been for a room or two. Pair of Lambada knives here, and yeah, I'll bite. We'll go left first. Potential statue room at the end here. So we'll clear out these portals and then head back right to see if we are correct or not. If we see stairs down, then we knew we were good skipping this, and if it turns out this is in fact the end, then at least we've got a clear run back. Pick up another hanged man. Been a little lax on the treasures this floor. My apologies. Big old crit on the Fire Witch, and we have our first 5-digit damage of the day. Of course, if you're running a Blademaster main, you're probably saying that's not possible because spells cap at 4 9s. Picking up a worm scale there. Oof. Had a darkness spell thrown at us there. That usually doesn't come out of a Fire Witch, so I am inclined, in fact, to believe there are 2. Yep, there's a Dark Witch right there. That'll be our all dungeon clear. Which, in fact, gives us a nice clean run back. Keep getting an indicator on the stream here that the connection is only mediocre, which is hilarious because I'm plugged right into the modem, and this is all off of this computer. Technology never ceases to amaze and confound. Maybe I should have rebooted the router. That seems to be the not good at tech solution for everything. Getting a flare guard and a pair of speed charms there. And as promised, we will grunty our way right over to the spring, wipe out anything in the immediate vicinity, and then chuck in a weapon and see what we get. Believe we have a wind axe and some lath blades to choose from. There may be a third weapon in there somewhere. I can't remember off the top of my head. Let's go woody grunty as we are in a wood field. It's going to be a fairly local trip once I get my directions about me. No wandering monsters so far. Lath blades, wind axe. Let's throw the wind axe in. It's a higher level. And we're just looking for an upgrade here. Our choice of golden axe or silver axe from level 2 Monsieur. And there's a monster wandering in. So we have to hurry this up because some Lambada knives feel we cut in line and therefore it wants to cut us. Pick up a midnight axe where the wind axe once was. And then take care of some very rude cutlery. Well, at least they gave us a ceramic anklet for our troubles. Just goes to show, folks, no Spring of Mist is safe. Technically, some are, if you go to a custom field. Wandering monsters really aren't a thing, so keep that in mind. Hit the item shop, and let's get rid of some gear. As you could see, we got a level 6 weapon out of a level 5 that'll sell for 100 or so more gold. Overall, I'd have to say, while the increments aren't super high for endgame, our profitability is through the roof on these. Because we're certainly not using anything in the way of resources. The buffs I'm using are bound to gear, so. Nothing really to take care of there. And we are off of the Bearcat server. 42 minutes just about gone by in this stream, so congrats to you if you have made it thus far. I have. That's just a humble brag. Now to the legend in its own right. Shining Darkness, probably the most featured server I've done on the channel. Definitely the server I've run the most. And without question, the most keywords on an area server in Fragment. Always sort of poking my head around to look for event NPCs, as they could pop up out of nowhere. Blunderful Too Many Channel. That's a level 21 Woodfield, and I'm certainly not going to argue with that. We've had an escalation of level every time we've gone out. But nothing too crazy level-wise. So the game being uncommonly merciful for me, and as per usual, an ambush on Shining Darkness. A whole brigade of fire witches to greet us at the gate there. Almost like they knew we were coming. Also, our second straight grassland woodfield. So that's something. Not gonna lie, morning coffee still kicking in at this point. There was a moment where I was wondering why we only had 97 fortune wire. Despite the fact that I clearly just used 10 seconds prior. Got some fresh Valkyries here. Always the best, because if you let the Valkyries sit out a bit, they get a little slimy and whatnot, and it's just not a good look. Random treasure giving us the lovers, and random symbol giving us Aprio. There's a little refresher on our rig, same. More fire witches and Lambada knives. Basically the same monster mix you saw at a last dungeon. Got a newt necklace here. Believe we picked up a flare guard as well. Very portal heavy field. Very wandering monster heavy field. And we got caught right around a number of landmarks. making this kind of an interesting look to this battle as we're constantly shifting the camera left and right. But it also meant the enemies came at us little at a time, sort of funneled the action in from each side. Field really wants us to keep rig same up. Got a protect break, which at this point is probably going to be one of the more uncommon sightings. And pick up a Mandragora. That's probably the first grunty food most .hack fans would have picked up in Infection. As bursting past over Aquafield is yet another grassland woodfield. So if you explored the field after the little tutorial, would have come from Orca in that game. And if you started out with Fragment, it would have come from Baron BT. Basically the same Blademaster model, just a matter of nap preference. And if you get that joke, you get that joke. Rig game has run off. Still got about 4 portals here, so we're definitely getting a thorough workout. Also have another spring mist opportunity. Haven't been paying very close attention to what treasures we have picked up. I know I've called out a couple. I know we had a couple right out of the gate there. Literally right out of the gate. Not too often you're hit with a literal firing squad, but 4 fire witches at spawn point feels like a good time for that wordplay. Also keeping up the vaunted tradition of Shining Darkness as the ambush server. Two Lambada knives for the price of 1 attack. Technically 6 because there's 3 per model, but you get the idea. Another Newt necklace. That will be a rather lackluster all field cleared, and once again no weapons out here. 3 Newt necklaces and some shoes. So into the dungeon we go. Make the same deal with you that I did last time. If we pick up a weapon, we will totally hit the spring. Amazingly, Rig Same made it the whole way through that field. Almost kind of like we had several symbols propping the timer back up. Big old convoluted first floor here, rooms in every direction. Got a pair of fresh Valkyries in a 4-way intersection here. Also pick up a Lover's Scroll, which I'm assuming has little hearts over it. There's some spell blades. Got the will we get a weapon drama out of the way early. Use our little window peek secret here. Something I found out yesterday, there are definitely monsters that can attack you through this little corner gap physically. I believe it was a spin figure. Just did that stab attack right through the gap, and I'm like, well, this plan was not nearly as foolproof as I once thought. Still kind of a cool quirk. I definitely appreciate it, especially in party combat where you could have somebody crashing one end of the combat directly and then a wave master or a support player just sticking back and casting from afar. Had some mimics there, which I didn't want to acknowledge because mimics But that will be a thing we've got coming up. Of course, the best time to run into them is when you're soloing and the area is far lower level than you. Because at that point, all they're doing is giving you a break from pressing the attack button. No confusion to be had there this time, though. Next floor, a little bit on the windy side. Hellbox to be specific, which means I think that's about as far up as they go without being magic tolerant. Of course, one of my favorite little things this game does, kills off a mimic and drops a regular treasure, so you just have to wonder if it really died at all. There's a green gale and a fire helm for our troubles. See some stairs down here, so we're getting at least 3 floors of fun. Pick up a fire dance hat, which of course is the headwear you need for a fire dance. Makes sense to me. Take out a gladiator and a hellbox in one fell swoop. While I struggle with picking up a treasure chest off screen. Sometimes I like to navigate via minimap just to remind myself that success is never a guarantee in life. That hellbox dying to that McGann ROM was, though. That was an 11 out of 10 times success chance. Actually starting to feel good. Big old crit on the hellbox, saying we're not interested in any confusion shenanigans at the moment, but thank you very much for your inquiry. Taking out a couple more enemies there and picking up a green gale for our troubles. More immature eggs, just letting us know they're around. Of course, it's tough to see this type of dungeon and not think way back to the beginning of Infection, where my .hack adventure began some 20 years ago in gaming. Of course, anything older than 3 or 4 years feels like the distant past with the way the world has gone. But especially then. Just sort of taking a moment. Floor number 3 now. Portal dead in the middle of this square room. It's going to give us a gladiator and a hellbox. And there's our first confusion, allowing me to switch my coffee and my tea as I've finished off the coffee for the day and now finished off the confusion. Potential statue room there, so we'll clear out the sides and look for stairs down. Of course, we did get a quality saturation out of that field. Certainly got our time spent here, so if this is a shorter dungeon, I won't complain. Also, that means we'll fit 4 dungeons in an hour. Real nice clip for these. Confusion right away. A little bit of risky business here on the back end. Picking up a fireman's coat. So we've gone from winter coats to fireman's coats. Seeing nothing but dead ends here, so this in fact will be a 3-floor dungeon. Nice critical hit on Gladiator 1. Gladiator 2 makes it just about to the fall point of the first before going down itself. And there's a green gale. One more portal left in this dungeon here, as we race by that silly golden egg. Last portal's going to give us more hell boxes and more chances at lovely confusion. Strangely evade that despite my thumb going a little wonky there and going the wrong direction. Pick up the statue chest and then back out to the field. And we will 100% do the spell blades this time. I'm going to call it now. Picked up a couple health charms. Those are great to see. Not so much for this character, but for Wee T, my quote-unquote attempt at optimizing a Blademaster. Also a very popular character model, I do believe, both Sam and Midnight. Another legend in Fragment. Have Blademasters, that particular model, and probably size too. Let's grab Aqua Grunty this time. We're going to the spring. Well, not far at all. Spell blades in. That may have been the only weapon we picked up. See what it upgrades to. No wandering monsters this time, but portals squarely in our field of vision. And we get a Setetsu. Nice level 9 weapon there. Return to town and settle up at the pay window, as it were, before continuing on our server run. Now the most exciting part of the stream, that part where I just sell things. Gonna bank those health charms though. Use the FC Hucker or F Chalker. Get those where I need to get them later. I don't know if anybody's actually done an online tutorial for that particular program. It's fairly easy to use, and I know that because I've only screwed it up once or twice. But we will wave farewell to Shining Darkness for now. I'm sure we'll be back. Moving on to the next. Watch my hand once again not work as it should. Moving on to a level 1 server called Witchvale. This is a newer one. I was afraid of this. I wasn't sure if it was just a one-time fluke thing before, but I do remember seeing this server before, and I don't think the ports are properly forwarded. I think that's still port 20,000 you want to forward for other people to play. So if you own the Witchvale server and you're seeing this, that's the port you want to forward. And if you're having some trouble there, I would strongly suggest the NetSlum Discord. Always someone floating about, more than likely able to help you with that. There's also a fair variety of online guides, though it is worth noting that the vast majority of those guides are outdated. Moving on then to the Dot Hack Network, the worldwide leader in dot hack content. I say that somewhat tongue-in-cheek because I say everything somewhat tongue-in-cheek probably where I'm getting some of these consonant slips. Nice little plug there for the website. But honestly, I think Erroneous does more for .hack than Bandai Namco at this point, and that genuinely needs said aloud, and I genuinely thank them for their work in the community. And also for this level 6 Firefield, Bursting Snaring Alchemy. It's going to be a real quick, low-level kind of day. I'm going to need to run some 98 fields to get my average clear level back up. Between this and the Steel Blades, it's dropped below 60. And that just doesn't feel super comfortable. Got our buffs together without an ambush. And yeah, there's not really anything of note to be getting at this level. Of course, this is not the original .hack network server. I do believe this was a restart. The .hack network was one of the servers that was up when I started back in August of 2020. It was probably right around this level, level 9, level 10. I want to say the two I ran the most in my early levels were that and Cypheria, that I definitely haven't seen in quite a while. There was also Arcadia Pi. And Crab Server, but Crab Server is kind of a fragment rite of passage that goes back to the live server days and has certainly had several hosts throughout time. I want to say Overmaster hosts it now. Upstanding member of the community. Enemies in droves as we played a little King of the Hill there. I do hope the audio is steadily improving throughout the morning. I'm feeling more comfortable talking. This morning it was kind of iffy. It was sort of a deal where I was actually waffling on doing this stream. But I don't know when I'll get the chance again. And I don't say that in any sort of serious way. Goodness knows this is not destination viewing by any means. But this has just been a crazy busy year. And yeah, the way the schedule's mapping out, I may have some time to do one next Wednesday. I don't know yet, honestly. I'll pretty much know by Wednesday morning next week. Was nice to get an hour plus in here, though. And things are running fine. So the plan to continue running through the servers, those that we can enter, very much still underway. Got our field clear here. And to the dungeon we go. Passing some Twilight Onions because we already picked some up. Also passing the entrance. That's mainly because I'm a doof. Also kind of messed up on the T there, so entrance kind of came out like entrance. There's a GU reference. Back into the checkerboard floors. Very, very widespread first floor. Usually the more rooms you see in a first floor, the deeper the dungeon goes. That is not a 100% rule, hard and fast, but typically if you see a very compact first floor, you're only looking at a couple floors. Whereas if the first floor has lots of square footage, you could generally count on a bit of an adventure underfoot, as it were. Get some Cadet Valkyries to go with our Mushroom King. And again, we're in a single-digit field. We're not terribly worried about much, if any, of this treasure. Sword of Chaos falling down in a very orderly fashion. Picking up some ring mail. Yet another sign that you're in a low-level area in an RPG. The armor sounds functionally sound. If it doesn't have some goofy sort of fantasy bent to it. Or something that doesn't sound like functional armor in the least. Like a winter coat. Then you know you're very low level. Level 1 in an RPG, you get steel plate. Level 50, you get light bracer. Well, that's pretty much a glow stick, I guess. Couple more portals here in the first. While I keep opining on RPG item selection. Picking up a Meteor Swarm scroll, which is definitely a fun little get at lower levels. And I know I typically don't use the spell scrolls here, but again, at lower levels, they are a wonderful godsend for your melee classes, because you may not always have super strong spells, or a really hefty mana pool, SP pool, sorry. But you might be running into some magic tolerant or physically evasive enemies. Not magic tolerant, physical tolerant. Pardon me again for the amateur hour. Brought to you by Bearcat Egg. First floor in the books here. Time for floor 2, Electric Boogaloo. Also, I promise I won't do that again this stream. This one going straight down. At least in the portion we could see on the mini-map. Two Cadet Valkyries down there. And we will continue on our merry way. Getting a more expansive room here at about the halfway point. And we're getting some headhunters. See our first headhunter alongside a Mushroom King. Really nifty model there. I want to say that's the first data bug you saw. If you started with infection like I did. With little glowing hex plates and whatnot. Just a really, really cool look. 3 larger models here. Won't quite emulate the effect with a little sleep, but still fun to put a glowing yellow. And yeah, that was pretty much just to take a deep breath and enjoy the moment. Picking up a noble cloak, so they know how fancy we are. Cadet Valkyrie and Headhunter. Resurrect. That's an item that won't help you at all when soloing in online mode. And run this big old blue carpet all the way down to floor 3. Yet more real estate to traverse here in the third. Though it's looking like the right side may wrap up a touch quicker than the left, depending on where that far left goes. That's either a very short room with a very wide middle or a three-way intersection. Either way, we will explore the right side first. Take out a Headhunter Mushroom King combo. Yeah, just a couple portals here. Some of the glowy blue-purple lava stuffs. There's the Hanged Man and a little bit of risky business here. Picking up some Mage's Soul to go with the Ring Mail. Of course, low-level Blademaster's Mage's Soul means you could cast twice in a combat. Nope, just a really short stubby room that turns up. So much there. I was really hoping that was a three-way intersection. I don't know why. We've certainly got our share of adventure in today. Just feels like I want a bit more out of this. Pair of Headhunters there. Perhaps they could have traded skulls in a separate life. As for now, we're to the fourth. Using a Fairy's Orb and once again rebuffing, as it is important to do the rebuffing as opposed to being rebuffed. More Mushroom Kings to take care of. More stairs down in our near future. So back in the saddle with at least a 5-floor dungeon here after that brief little break from the Shining Darkness server. Rare to say, Shining Darkness gave us a break, but they also gave us one heck of an ambush right away. Got hit with a literal volley of magical fire right out of the spawn point. One more portal here in the fourth. And there are some Hell Doberman. Getting things good and laggy in the little hallway of that large room. But a quality end to our fourth floor adventure. Floor number 4 has tripped me up more times on microphone than any single thing ever. Here comes a Fairy's Orb for floor 5. Showing us an assortment of small to medium rooms. Again, not a 100% rule, but a pretty good indicator that you're at the end of a dungeon is the lack of large rooms. So yet another thing to sort of keep an eye out for. And again, these aren't hard and fast rules. I'm not reading out of a guide or anything. These are just my observations after playing this game a few years. Kind of like Mushroom Kings die to damage. There's a pro tip. Got naught but dead ends here, so I'm gonna go a little bit out of the way and pick up that death treasure chest. Don't have a Spring of Mist to go back to here. Do have one more portal to deal with. And we'll just take a shot at that from afar with some Meganron. Never even approach the danger. We'll approach that Vulcan statue, though, and pick up a Mountain Helm, a Grunty Doll, and a Resurrect for our troubles. Just approaching the hour 15-minute mark. as we will go back to town, which I believe is Carmina Gadalica once more. Yep. Really neat town to visit just on the lighting. One thing I think they did really well is give something a little unique to each town. So they do have their own special feel. But again, for me, Mac Anu always number one. Get rid of our lone mage's soul there. Otherwise, I'd forget about it until an inconvenient time where the slots on my inventory filled up to 40 and then be in a world of trouble. Could still pick up 4 resurrects before that's maxed out. So let's head back out to the lobby and see what more fun we can get into today. Heading back in. Mackerel and V's place. Let's head into Mackerel here. Fitting finale, both of V's servers right at the end of the list here. Holy mackerel. Get right into this. Slippery microwave trout. Level 21 fire field. Of course, V's is another server that could hit any level in particular, but thus far we haven't really hit anything of serious challenge. Should be thankful about that. And we're back on our ambushing ways. Lambada knife and a fire witch. Take care of them all nocturnal type. Another fire witch coming up, and we'll out magic them. That'll show that level 20 monster. Of course, the nighttime fire field looks vastly different, very dark brown. We're going to stick out like a sore thumb with these buffs here. Got a nice little night sky box, though. Thing's a little hazy, too. See the shadows of all the giant weapons stuck in the ground from the long since gone battle with the tremendously giant peoples of old. So much lore, so many backstories built into all this. Really, if you're not familiar with all the lore, you could just kind of write your own sort of side stories here. Nice thing about the game, they're open-ended enough. Excalibur 64. Nice, I caught the stream. How's it going, guy? It is going. Thank you for stopping by. Said at the top of the stream, wasn't feeling really 100%, but certainly going better as the stream goes. And thank you for stopping in on what I should have probably titled as an online server rush. Just running a field and dungeon clear out of each online server. So far, we've only had one we couldn't access, and I'm pretty sure that's just the Witchvale server not having ports forwarded. Fairly common issue. Hopefully things are going well for you, Excalibur, on this Wednesday morning. And apologies for the timing of having to walk on literally the dingiest field we've done all day. Everything's been bright and colorful. And as it so happens, an hour and 15 minutes in, we hit nighttime fire. Life is good. Oh, okay, Neoterni, I remember. Vaguely, but I remember the name. I apologize. Things tend to bop in and out of the head a bit more than I'd like to, but I definitely do remember the name. Hopefully, I wasn't completely useless on the run. Picking up some Smith's gloves there. Fresh Valkyrie decided to get off half its combo after it took lethal damage. Always a fun thing to see. Just a little bit of hiccup in the signal there. All field portals open. And just like that, we're going to go down into the dungeon. This, of course, the mackerel server. Didn't hit whale shark on the C word, just been random wording it. So we shouldn't be in for a 10-floor dungeon here. But there's a little life tip. If you ever want to do a 10-floor dungeon, go to mackerel server and hit whale shark. Sheer coincidence that a friend I had hopped on trying out fragment for the first time. Hey! Well, I was happy to both be there and help. I love this game, but sometimes it does feel a little quiet out there, especially if you're used to other games with like bustling hub worlds and everything. The way Fragment works is a little different. It's kind of like a secret handshake. Got some hell boxes here that decided I need to press attack for myself. Didn't try the confusion ability. Well, a rather rewarding room here. Getting a fire lizard and some fire tempest and some hands of fire. Bet you can't guess the running theme there. Fire lizard, probably one of my favorite pieces of equipment in this game because it's fairly attainable earlier levels. And it gives you Aptorv, which for everything but a Wave Master is an absolute godsend. Skipping yet more Bearcat eggs, sitting by yet more neon blue lava. Getting some fresh Valkyries. So I must ask, have you played Fragment recently? It is refreshing to an extent. It's also nice to be able to just jump in a game and do things. Playing modern MMOs, you quickly get to that point where if you're not in a guild, or if you're not paying cash, you're just not achieving things. And there is something to be said for the community keeping things running all this time. Taking out a couple there. Passing by our stairs down to take out the last portal on the first. Not a super sprawly first floor, but a fair bit of variety to it. Haven't actually played Fragment recently. Hey, nothing wrong with that. I can still remember a time where a single player mode in games was sort of unique, where most games were thought of as multiplayer first. Definitely a fun thing, and definitely the kind of game, being Fragment that is, that you can just pick up and play. Just one of those times where maybe you have an evening. And hey, if your friend's ever available for a run, all the better. These days, coordinating anything could be a challenge. Got a couple portals here off to the right side of the map. More fresh Valkyries. And more being unable to hit straight away. Probably a good thing that I'm on the back part of the server rush. Definitely feel things starting to slip a little. 2 more fresh Valkyries and the Gladiator gone. We'll see if we can't dial up something a little fun here for the final dungeon once we get out of here. So far, it's been a very chill stream. Lot of level 20s and lower fields. Certainly not complaining because I'm hardly in top form. Got a train coming through. That's probably bleeding in. Past some of the giant Castlevania gears. And the stairs down to 3 coming through here. Three hell boxes to deal with. And for once, the high mind stat that comes with level 99 comes in handy. Sometimes the stat ratings just feel like a big old lie. Like when a hellbox is able to confuse you first try at level 99. But these things, they do happen. Third floor here. Yes, very much live up to their name. And that's an enemy that definitely gets worse when you're partied up. Most of the time you're thinking safety in numbers, but especially in a situation like you described earlier, where I may have been running with you guys at a lower level. If the highest level person gets confused, it's just a bad time for everyone, especially if there's a monster in the party with Death Touch. That's really where a game like this shows its teeth, because you could have like a level 99 carrying a couple people under level 10, and then a couple unlucky hits, and it's a total party wipe. Getting a Fire Witch and a Gladiator there. Good critical hit on the Gladiator. Hitting that quality 2600 and picking up the Fool from the treasure. 3 floors just about in the book. Get a good 2-for-1 there at the bend, and down to floor 4 we go. Hey, said it right the first time. Run some more of this lovely bluish carpet. And into the 4th. Don't expect this to go past 5 floors, I would think. Not overly familiar with the words in Mackerel, past Whale Shark and a couple others. But I don't remember too many of them heading to deeper dungeons. Do see a stairs down to 5, though. Believe that was a Franken. More headless undead. We saw some headhunters last time out, so. As my son ambles his way downstairs. One more portal to go here in the 4th. Living Dead, my apologies, not a Franken. How silly of me, I should have read the tag. Now what the heck, we'll stick around and pick up the treasures this time. There's a Meteor Swarm and a Fire Tempest. Heading to floor 5 here. Timer says I'm 90 minutes in, but I don't feel like I've done more than an hour and a half. How old is my son? Well, he's heading to middle school. That much I will say. Don't like giving too much information out on the internet. Just because. But yeah, I can remember when he was just wee lad that fit on my forearm. And now he's just kind of getting too cool for school sometimes. Fun to watch him grow, though. Most importantly, it takes a whole ton of pressure off because he is a bright one, and it's nice to once again be the least smart person in my house. Makes life easy on me and means nobody's asking me for any help with math. That's fair. There are certainly several points for ambling downstairs. I will say, of all the adjectives, that was probably the one that was closest to that particular pace. And the stairs are fairly creaky, so I hope the audio backed me up on that. Potential statue room there. I don't remember seeing any stairs down here. Getting a 2-for-1 on the Fire Witch and the Hellbox. Couple rooms topside, though. At some point, I should really consider rebuffing, but I'm not gonna, because this is the end and it's a level 21 field. More Hellboxes. And there's that confusion. Yeah, sadly, I didn't really, as you could tell by the level of professionalism with the channel overall, set my house up in any way, shape, or form to have a studio. I am literally in the dead center of the house at a computer, right next to the stairs, both heading up to the top and down to the basement. So anything that goes on in the house literally carries to this point. Great for real life, bad for recording. Statue time, and we get a Dogman's sword. Fantastic item in the Dot Hack Enemy card game, Dogman's sword. Also not terrible for a Blademaster in general, and I'm not 100% sure if I have one stashed or not. So that may be going into the item stash when we get out of here, which will happen just as soon as I remember where Sprite Ocarina is in the item list. You'd swear after running a half dozen dungeons I'd be a little more fluid on that menu. Instead, it seems the opposite. The more I run, the less I am able to. Back to town we go. Once again, sneaking out before any wandering monsters have the nearest hint of getting to us, and back to the soothing sights and sounds of Dunloriag. It's bright, it's vibrant, it's cloudy, and I've been told that right off to that side there, right where we're looking, going to go into first person, those planks there are more or less where the .hack sign footage would have taken place. Sort of in that area. Now you can take that with a grain of salt, but the people I've spoken with, far more familiar with the minutiae of this than myself. I was a fan, I was a casual observer. There are some folks that have done some deep, deep dives into the mechanics, into the scenery, and into the lore, and I appreciate them and any tidbit of information they give me. Me being the gullible sort will happily repeat every bit of it as though it were fact. Picked up a lot of bloody twins, didn't we? I think I'm also going to store that fire lizard. That way, if I run across someone who needs one, it's sitting right there in the old stash. After all, I'm approaching 5 mil again. Money not really at a premium. Certainly won't need any healing potions or mage's souls at this stage of the game. Replenish my pertinence. Could have certainly gone without, but I like to keep them at 99 just to know they're at 99. Interwoven nature of the .hack series is fantastic. Oh, absolutely, especially in the R1 stage. And yeah, I did run past fairy storage, which I should have remembered was by the item shop. Yeah, the way everything connected here in the earlier stages, and even some of the GU callbacks were really, really clever. Fire Lizard and Dogman Sword. Let's take a look at the old sword collection here. I have Basic Sword, Brave Sword. Nothing like quality variety in your level 1 Blademaster weapons. Rondo, Mizuchi, Gakkaku, the Strange Blade. There's the Dogman Sword. Got a couple of Rising Suns and Oberon, Banished Blade. I want to say that was the first sword I ran an upload with. There's a Stream Sword I should really give away on stream. The Honor's Breath, a Scarlet Cross, Godslayer, Needle Blade, the Gold Sword, Trickster, which is what you get when you throw a gold sword into a Spring of Mist and upgrade it, Sky Sweeper, Evil Eyes. I ran this sword forever. Death Touch and Deck of Orb on tap. This sword probably got me through more levels than most. I want to say it was either this one or Eternity. Jormungand, great critical hitter, and its complementary sword Eternity. Yet another thing I keep on stack, a couple extras, just in case there's somebody playing Blademaster right at about the level 50-ish area looking for that little bit of extra oomph to carry them through. I want to say level 50 is where the game really starts kicking your tail again once you get into the groove of things. Levels 1 through 10 could be a little tricky, especially if you don't just offline grind them, which would be my recommendation on it. And then from level 10 to level 50, you get this nice little pocket where it's nice and enjoyable. Babble over, my apologies there. Moving into the rares, we have Beredo, which has the same model as Sword, just sort of that sort of carved crystalline shape. This one, a critical striker, darkness element. There's the Phoenix's Wing. Once again, a darkness element, which is weird because with that name, you'd swear it would be fire. But only darkness element in name. It's actually neutral element on the stats. Chaos Sword, our level 99 rare. Everyone's favorite to farm for and very fun to run, but not the one I choose to. There's Sword, all caps for a reason. Life Drain and Spirit Drain, water element beastie, and it looks like you're carrying around a giant icicle. Thank you. It's kind of been my secondary goal here. My first goal was to get a certain number of online trophies, and I hit that mark a couple days ago. Going to keep going, though, because the goalpost moved on that. Getting to 99 was just kind of a thing. But now my goal is to get a pretty comprehensive collection of Blademaster weapons, which is why I've been running for the vaunted Steel Blade of late. This is the Maniac Sword. I like to call it the Salad Fork of Doom. It has the same sort of, actually more meat fork look with the two prongs. That and the Chaos Sword have the same sort of look to it. There's Bear's Sword, the most disappointing sign callback weapon on the planet. Most of them have really cool abilities and things. This one has Deck Vorv and Deck Vorma. It has 2 debuffs. Stats are okay, and it gives physical defense. So it's unique in its own right, but unlike Bear, which is a welcome sign of normalcy, this is just a bit bland for a rare. Silver Knight's Sword is intentionally bland, and I find that to be hilarious. First off, you'll notice this is a level 29 rare with 25 attack and 11 accuracy. Bear's Sword ain't getting you much better at level 53. That's my first sign that there's an issue with Bear's Sword. Silver Knight's Sword actually, at a much lower level, is getting you much more bang for the buck. Also, you may notice, cross slash, they really did do Bear dirty with that sword. You get cross slash, crack beat, and revolver, which, again, don't look that great. They're just non-elemental attacks. But the key is they're non-elemental attacks, which means you won't hit into any elemental resistances. As long as the enemy can be physically damaged, Silver Knight's Sword will physically damage them. And at high levels, you'll still be at 99 physical attack and accuracy running this. For a while, I was actually maining Silver Knight's Sword. Here's the Junk Sword. It's a level 84 with negative 50 physical attack, which is one of the things that throw people for a loop. But in case you need to farm specific virus cores, weapons like this exist so you can actually hit lower level enemies and get those protect breaks without just one shot killing them. Also, it's fun to farm for a rare called Junk Sword. Then I have Forsaken Light and Sumigari, which are heavy blade weapons that are just kind of sitting here forever. And Golden Axe, because it's a fantastic arcade game. It really is. Genesis support had that arcade mode at the end. I always used the dwarf and just shoulder tackled everything. Anyway, that'll do it for Mackerel. We did add a Dogman's Sword to the collection, so happy we were able to get that accomplished today. Got one more area server to go. Do apologize for that little detour into nowhere. Down to V's place we go. I may just hunt out a level 98 field here. End this on a high. Not gonna lie, I was still sort of holding out hope that an event NPC might show up. Random word it? Yeah, Great Gluttonous Machina would have been what we got had I just stuck with random word, and at that point, a level 9 light field would have been an easy clear, and that would have been a very easy stream. No drama, no fuss, no chance of failure, and we'd have just gotten through. But that ain't how we're doing today. Let's go in and grab us the level 100 keyword. Let's throw out Haunted. And let's say try Pansy. Level 98 Darkness Field. This could be trouble. I'm going to say it could be trouble because there are definitely some mimic type enemies here. But we'll see what we could get through. And at the worst, we'll see me drop down to level 98. Get some raining swampland here. Which means we, of course, will get the lovely chant of the best grunty food in Fragment La Pumpkin going. Got an enemy sneaking up on us, and it's an Astra King. As a bonus, the one enemy in this level range I can physically attack. Keeping an eye on the health, because we did not get time to rig same before it came up wheezing behind us. And yeah, Vulcan's a thing. Even at max level, it's going to do a little over half our health. So important to keep an eye on the old health meter. Finish with a crit. And we're just going to start our buffs back from the beginning here. Get a nice little refresher on those. And keep an ear out for anything coming behind us. Nice thing about this rainy field is we actually don't have any background music at the moment. Just little raindrops going. And a little pumpkin patch there. Pick one up for the memories and move to the next portal. You'll see I'm going to open these at a distance just in case one of them's got 3 armor generals. Because getting stuck in the middle of combo attack hell is never fun. Picking up some stealth blades out of the box there. That's what we expect for a max level treasure chest. And some App Torv. Once again, the physical accuracy not needed, but certainly appreciated. May need to go here soon, actually working today. Fair enough. Well, I do thank you for popping in. And I thank you for the well wishes on this high-level dungeon. The nice thing about level 98 is you kind of know the monster mix after you've run enough of them. The bad thing is they can all kill you dead. Do appreciate you stopping in, though. It's been a lovely chat, and I do hope this has been entertaining, or at least relaxing. I'm going to keep carrying on here with this field and hope that second armor general doesn't break too far free before the first is dead. We will see a lot of rebuffing here on this field, as taking things down with a 20 SP ROM spell is going to take quite a bit of time. And Rig Game and Rig Same, not exactly known for being durability monsters. Certainly, and thank you. You take care as well. Next portal coming up. More armor general. And this time we have the trifecta, so we're actually going to be running around a bit. Just try and get these 3 lined up in an area where we can hit them all without them running too far away from each other. That is kind of a challenge. Sooner or later, one of them's bound to break free. The hope is we can get rid of this middle one just for the sake of numbers. We'll definitely have to rebuff after this. May not look like it from this distance, but they are getting a little bit of movement in. You saw the one on the left there. Even in between the random spam casting, there go our buffs. Like I said, we'd have to rebuff after. Should have probably rebuffed before, but I didn't realize exactly how much time passed. We'll safely get through the first tier, but now we have to be a bit more conscious of our SP pool. The nice thing about Megan ROM is when you have Rig Game up at this level range, it's pretty much a free spell. It just about replenishes in the time it takes the animation to go off. Now we're going to let these guys regroup a little along with our SP pool and see if we can't just take out this right side one. The hope is to keep them caught just like that. Seems like they may be going back and forth a bit, which would help us take out both, but hopefully not let them get close enough to deal physical damage. Also close is our SP pool. We've got maybe 2 more casts in us before we're looking at an Artisan Soul. Fortunately, we do the thing. Get all 3 down. And we will take the very reckless chance of rebuffing out here in the open. Wandering Monster could get us at any point, but fortunately none have shown up. And we'll just sort of take the long way to that next portal. Let our SP pool recover to at least half. Next portal is going to give us just a singular armor general, which is about as lucky a break as we could get. Do have a Spring of Mist. Probably going to skip this one in general. Well, we have a Stealth Blades. I'll see what it's looking like after the all clear. If Wandering Monsters are on the lower side, I may just chance it. What the heck, why not, right? It's going to be a 2-hour stream anyway. Again, trying to get you guys some quality here, at least in terms of time duration. Because frequency, let's be honest, never was my strong suit, and this year less so than most. Looks like about 7 more portals left out in the field, somewhere in that neighborhood. That one's just giving us treasure. There is a Wandering Monster. Second one of the field, and it's our second Astra King wandering in as well. Definitely got to heal under 1,000. Kind of take a risk there after the Vulcan that it's not going to throw 2 in a row. So I generally have a little time to get hit points back. Wow, I was all out of sorts there. Well, probably a good time to get the buffs refreshed anyway. We'll do Aptu as well. Keep our speed up. I will say of all the monsters that... Oh, wow, there is some background music. I just heard it. It's literally just a small rhythm section. I don't think I would have noticed it had that not been a completely dead point as far as action goes. Could just be the way I have the sound leveled off here too. I probably do have music down to emphasize sound effects on the uploads. Got 3 armor generals here, but in a very tight cluster. We'll definitely get through the lead one here, and the other 2 may still be close enough to be grouped together. So probably the safest and most boring way of approaching this portal. There it goes. Nope, not quite close enough. So I'll just have to hope, like it did, that there was just enough time to get them grouped back together. This should allow us to take out the left side armor general second. And enough time passed there through the rebuffing that our SP pool recovered quite nicely. And now we're down to a one-on-one fight, and the armor general is down to like 500 health. And that'll do it for that. Skipping that treasure chest because I was well past it by the time it hit, and let's face it, it's a stealth blades. More armor general. Again, not to be confused with the general armor we saw earlier in this stream. Of course, there's a whole lot of earlier in this stream. If you want to check it out, we did something that I'm going to tentatively call a server rush, where we run 1 field and dungeon from each server available. Certainly something that we had talked about doing for some time, both myself personally and several members of the group. The old fragment community there. I'm sure several people have probably done it, maybe even recorded it. And if they have, hopefully they've done a better job than I have. Again, clearly amateur hour here. Had a chance to get away scot-free with no challenge whatsoever. For those of you just checking things out here at the hour 55 mark, V's Place was being gentle with us. Shining Darkness was being gentle with us. They were all cutting me a break today. But I said none of that. We're finishing on a level 98 field, come hell or high rain swamp field. Maybe I could have thought of better phrasing there at the end. Pick up some Nightshade there, which is in fact not a Stealth Blades. Also not a Summon Darkness, so it's not going to sell super high, I don't think. But I've been wrong before, and I'll certainly be happy to be wrong again if that's the case. Picking up some Afghans. Not going to be sad about that, as that should give a minor boost to our Migan ROM. Which, once again, is not something we'll be using on an Astro King. We'll be hoping that 2 Vulcans don't go off in quick succession. No, I could deal with the physical attack in between spells. That's a nice steady pace. I can live with that. Does feel like a very specific dance you're doing with an Astro King, especially when it circles around you while you're fighting. All rep once more. I think we can get one more portal out of the buffs, and that's probably not the best logic to use. Safe better than sorry. But we're in this for the content too, and every now and then that means a reckless decision just needs made. So to the portal we go. Hey, we picked up a Psyche Vision. And a Psyche Vision is an enemy we're not terribly worried about, but we're also not going to take on head on because they're incredibly physically tolerant. Back in the day, with the Evil Eyes sword as my main, I would certainly go up, hope that it's incapacitated, and just start swinging for the fences because Death Touch would take away most of its hit points, and even if I miss 90 times, I'm still getting a fairly quick kill when it hits. But Rugrats Knights is a critical hit weapon, and it ain't worth doing all that for double damage. Because the double damage isn't all that impressive on that high level an enemy. Rugrats Knights, however, gives me the ability to use Moomin Lay, which is the sleep ability bound to a piece of gear, which means I'm not carrying scrolls around. It's not being super helpful here. But I'm more than tanky enough to handle the Psyche Vision's attacks. And then once I finally get it asleep, hitting for some decent damage, again, boosted slightly by the Afghans that we picked up out of the symbol. See those elemental hits going off for triple digits where we get the big numbers that look flashy and impressive. But even then, the solid 53 to 58s being magically boosted, more than worth it. There goes Rig Game and Rig Same, the buffs that I swore I was going to replenish more than a portal ago. But we made it through, and that's really all we can count on. There's a treasure chest of the normal variety. Pop it open for more Nightshade. You know, here I thought I'd just be picking up Stealth Blades the whole day. Yet another Psyche Vision. This one goes right to sleep, so it had clearly heard me talking. Monotone does wonderful, wonderful things to enemies. Keeping things rolling here, making sure our giant turkey monster stays at a safe distance away and well under 2,000 hit points by the time it snaps out of things down into triple digits, and maybe it just never wakes up. Who's to say, really? More Afghans, because 20 SP spells are really where the action's at, folks. Some App Corv, and some Rig Same. One thing we can say about this stream, we have not been at a loss for Rig Same. And let's finish the field where it all began. One Astra King versus one Blademaster. Astra King is fire element, Blademaster is water element. Neither one really look like they should be. That Vulcan took us way low, and now we're walking way slow because Abdu wore off. All this time worrying about Rig Game and Rig Same, and we ain't got no hops. There we go. One last hit, and critical finishes it off. Could replenish Abdu, but I'm feeling like we should ride another grunt here. Let's go old school. The Noble Grunty, mon ami. Let's ride the Noble Grunty down to the spring and see what we can turn his stealth blades into. I know it will upgrade, that we won't just get a stealth blades plus a golden and silver axe, but it's been so long, I actually forget what it upgrades to. Or will it upgrade? Because it's a rainy field. This could downgrade. I never thought of that. Let's give it a shot. It could very well downgrade. Let's see what level 5 Grandpa gives us. The item got weaker. It turned into a Sand. Stealth Blades is a level 49, and if you're playing a Twin Blade, a fantastic one, because it's going to give you the chance to paralyze as well as sleep. Both status effects I'm huge fans of. Sand, on the other hand, is level 48. That's going to give you a couple different attacks elementally, and App Corv. Overall, not that terrible a downgrade, but certainly lesser. Get back on the Noble one and make our way to the dungeon. I want to say Noble Grunty is the only one that actually sniffs out grunty food. They all have triangle abilities, and I think most of them are either find portals or find the dungeon. I want to say Noble Grunty is the only one that finds food. We, however, are looking for the inside of a giant person's mouth, as that is a flesh dungeon. Just in case you thought inside of a giant person's mouth was going to be the grossest way I could describe this little adventure. Flesh dungeon is the winner. Past the 2-hour mark here. Once again, I'm a grumpy old guy. This is gaming, as I'm told. And we are standing in the rotting flesh of some giant dude's mouth, about to descend into a dungeon here in .hack Fragment, finishing off an online server rush, where we ran a field and dungeon clear on each online server we were able to get into. Could have probably quickened these up, or at least stayed with nice, easy fields. Something to keep in mind for next time, but this time I really wanted to do something a little special, and being able to talk increasingly with less pain throughout the stream kind of helped. I'm a little curious myself. I may actually have to go back and listen to this thing at the beginning to hear how rough I was at the beginning. I certainly felt rough. Sometimes you have to wonder what the virtue of casting spells constantly with a melee class is, and to that I would counter that 5 out of 6 classes in this game are melee classes, and the way I play Blademaster kind of makes it a melee class too. Balance is the key. I'm a Dragon Quest guy. The first Dragon Quest game, Dragon Warriors, it was known here in the States on its initial release. where your character was just kind of the character and you had to do everything. I'm cool with that balance. More armor generals, and we're just going to pepper them right out of the gate with some Megan Rom, hopefully not letting them cross that little corner there. Because if they get too close to us, we start losing hit points at a considerable clip. Their combo attack can easily shred 1500 health off me, and that's wearing full level 99 heavy armor. Just going to keep things nice and in frame here. You can see all three of them recoiling slightly to the Rom damage. Rom, of course, being the tornado style spells. Looks like the mid armor general is trying to break free.
What's up?
2 armor generals to go here. Fortunately, the grouping stayed in an area where the spell was able to keep everything well in hand, and they really didn't make much, if any, progress from the portal spot itself. What they did do is tick down a whole bunch of time on these buffs and took out just about half of the SP bar. We've been lucky thus far. Keeping the elixirs basically for Astro King fights. Kind of how you want to do it. A little bit of a delay there as we pick up more stealth blades. And a nightshade. Time to make our way back to the stairs down. We've certainly spent more time in this floor than we spent in Crab Server in general today. That was our warm-up, and we've seen everything from single digits to level 98. Though the level 98 was a bit forced. Most of the stuff we did was in the low level 20s. So we got a good variety of things, and very few of them were lethal. Many of them were golden eggs. All golden eggs were passed on. No golden eggs were lost in the filming of this live stream. 3 more armor generals, because what's the fun in just one? And we should probably back up, which I will do after this Megan Rom, and hope that it doesn't hurt our nice little tight cluster of armor general. At some point, I feel that middle one is going to try and burst free like it did last time, and you could see it already starting to turn in the background. The worst case scenario is if that one on the left breaks free. Then we're in for a world of hurt, because then the entire grouping breaks down and we have to try and find a sweet spot again, which is a whole lot of running around this L-shaped room and having the healing elixir shortcut on standby, because these combo attacks, again, will shred us down to nothing. And if 2 of them attack us simultaneously, that's life. Or the lack thereof. Down to 2 armor generals, and one of those armor generals is down to triple digits. Once again, I think we lucked out here on sequence. And now it's a one-on-one fight, which is a fair fight, which is nowhere near fair, because we are the hero, they are the monster, and they are designed to fall to us. 31 hit points left on it, which is practically nothing by the time the spell actually goes off. Another thing going off was Abdu, so I spent all that time rebuffing for nothing, and now I threw a speed boost back on just to run us downstairs. Feel obligated at this point. This has been one hell of a stream. Even I don't think I could take it in one shot if I wasn't making it. Also, don't think the title midweek fragment is going to stick. Probably going to edit that in post. Certainly longer than I planned on being on today. I do thank those of you who have popped in. Of course, my streams being of the impromptu nature. Had been planning on trying to get this in for a couple days based on schedule. Woke up today feeling just well enough to do so. Vulcans like that definitely aren't going to keep our character feeling good, though. Just enough time in that spell animation to get a healing elixir off. And yeah, this is the kind of lethality that we want to reserve our healing elixirs for, especially if this ends up being a deeper dungeon. We'll find ourselves grinding through quite a bit of those. Finishing on a critical hit, never a bad thing. Got a dead end here just off to the left. And it's a Psyche Vision. So we get a chance to tap the square button a lot, as L2 and square is my setup for Migan Rom. No longer having Apgans boosted, so my critical elemental hits are only going for upper 90s in damage. This is going to take a good deal longer, because we're missing out on about 20 damage per hit, and these ROM spells tend to hit 8 to 10 times. If you've ever wondered about those little buffs, they are quite tangible. That said, no real danger in that encounter, and they're a larger size enemy, so barring some serious shenanigans, you're probably not going to see more than one of them. Of course, my phrasing there was specific for a reason I'll not get into detail. Just a treasure chest out of that portal, giving us just some nightshade, and now we walk just through a door. More armor generals, keeping us on our toes, and more importantly, on our Migan ROM. Probably the most oft-used ability at this point. This point, you could call us a grumpy old Blademaster casting, but hey, we're living to see the day. Switched from left side to right side there, which meant the right side armor general inched just slightly forward of the rest. Good to see a dispersal of damage overall, but we really do kind of want to get one killed here quicker than not. Especially in a smaller size room like this, they're already a little close for comfort. I'm not liking the group edging forward like this. Though it is nice to see all 3 health bars below half at this point. I'd just, at this point, like to not see 3 health bars. Wishes granted, and 1 cast later, we're down to 1? Make that 2 casts. I wasn't expecting it to hang on with 5 hit points, but there you go. Now a very dicey situation is very much the opposite, but we're also out of Rig-Geem and Rig-Same, so we clear that with only a few casts left in the well, as it were. A little bit of risky business out of here, giving us more stealth blades and more nightshade out of the chest inherent. Let's go ahead and rebuff here. Not the most optimal place to do so, but a place that just about guarantees a full SP bar by the next portal. We'll also have to keep an eye out for Abdu. It's not completely gone yet, but will be sooner rather than later, I'd say. Level 98 dungeons. Fantastic for the quality of battle, but also very time-consuming. Dealing with more Vulcan shenanigans. Get that elixir off nice and quick. Okay, 12-14. We could still take a Vulcan from this range, and it's getting dicey now. But it was low enough we were able to finish the Astra King off. and pick up another set of stealth blades for our reward. As I said, Abdu wears off right at the end of that battle. It's almost like we've been here before, huh? One more portal here in the second. One more Ash-Tricking here in the second. Always try and put myself on a little bit of a timer to see if I could deal 1,000 damage to the Ash-Tricking before it deals 1,000 damage to me, which is usually as quick as casting Vulcan. Gonna ride this one out, see what its next attack is. Of course, we try and get the most efficiency out of our healing items as possible, which sometimes means we're riding that elixir to the very end. Always good to know exactly how much damage you're going to take off that Vulcan, and it's going to be 1,110 in my case. Second floor in the books, time to hit the stairs down. On to floor 3. Got a bit of a side diversion there. If you're really looking for a treasure chest, I am not looking for that specific treasure chest. Really only interested in the statue chest at this point, because that means it's an all clear and a successful mission. So we'll be passing by that and just sticking to the main road. T-shaped intersection. Was really fearing armor generals there. Ash-Tricking, not a bad consolation prize. Getting a couple in as you hear the overly loud clicking of the circle button, which means I'm going about 80 miles an hour on it and just trying to get through this combat without any serious injury. Speaking of serious injury, just the physical attacks got us down under 1,000, which meant more than enough reason to use a healing elixir. Don't believe that one cast Vulcan one time, though, so lucky us. One more portal to go down here before we look at a square room. One more Ash-Tricking to fight. I don't know if that square room's going to have a portal. It's kind of tough to say one way or the other. Photo finished to 1,000 that time. Not sure if we did it or not. I wasn't paying attention to the damage. I was actually sort of focused on the mini-map. But you know, Vulcan got its piece in. Anytime Ash-Tricking throws that summons at us, as we are a water element Blademaster. Now, using pluralisms for no real reason. Guaranteed 0 damage there because it was already dead. Yeah, no portal in that square room, just some stairs down. So we'll take a walk over here to the right side, and before we get to the next room with a portal, we'll grab a couple treasure chests and probably rebuff. Letting Rig Same work its literal magic within the game world. Regenerating our health where previously there was no regen to be had. Three more portals to clear out here on the third floor. Be nice if I could keep track of the information on my own screen, wouldn't it? Getting some decent damage on the Psyche Vision right away. Again, not the most physically imposing enemy. Certainly nothing that's going to punch above our armor rating heavily. And really, the biggest challenge would come from just hitting it physically. Once you realize that, You just kind of narrow it down to magic. And with the gear setup I have, I've got a spell that works in its naturally opposed element. The rest is pretty elementary, and the Moomin Light really just helps to give me a bit of a head start there, as it is a fairly beefy monster. Hit points in excess of 7,000. Here's more armor generals. Once again, making sure that we don't get lulled into a false sense of security, and this is really the nightmare scenario here, where they get just a little split up and you're never sure which one's further ahead, which means they're both getting a little bit of movement in between each cast. Really got to get to work on this pair, because there is not much real estate between us and them. As you can see from that slightly shifted camera angle, I'm willing to say if they cover half the distance shown here, they will be in physical attack range, and that's where we're really got a problem. On the bright side, Armor General on the right side is down under 200 health and down, just down in general. So we are on a one-on-one. Instantly a less lethal situation, although again, nothing to sleep on. If that Armor General gets into melee range with us, it can slice to ribbons. Go for one more rebuff just to make sure we're not found wanting on this final portal of the 3rd floor. Psyche vision, so we'll be fine. See that big old smiling, snarling face at us with the big old teeth and everything? It's actually just the breast feathers of the bird portion. Kind of a neat little effect there, and you can see the eyes on the little monster face in the breast feathers match up beautifully to the eyes on the tail feathers. Little peacock effect there. Also creepy if you're not really that comfortable with eyes. Monster design in this game was just top-notch. One more cast will do it. And that gets us through floor 3. Time to head to the 4th. And we get a little bit of a walk before we get there. Get a little bit of the back stretch in while I'm huffing it through. Really kind of told myself if I got an hour out of me today, I'd be thrilled. Here we are at the 2-hour, 24-minute mark approaching. Starting to get a little raspy. Probably time to get a drink. And the 4th floor brought to you by the first 3 floors. See some stairs down in our future. And some large rooms, so we've got some real estate to cover. But it means the portals are spread out, and theoretically, we have some room to escape dangerous situations. Not here in this first room, though. Get a portal straight away, and thankfully, it just delivers us a treasure chest, yielding some nightshade for the old inventory, which in turn will go to proceeds for the stream, in character. Risky treasure right in the middle here, and this 4th floor already being kind to us. More stealth blades there. That could change in the drop of a hat, though. Next room is a small L shape with a portal right at the bend. And sure enough, armor generals with a lack of real estate, probably your worst case scenario in a level 98 field. So our first two portals went through with absolutely no incident, and it's a life or death situation immediately into the third. Good tight grouping though. Right side looks to be trying to break free. Got the left side armor general down to about 1300. A little bit of lag there. I'm not quite sure why. There isn't really enough to draw on here for it to be that laggy. There we go. Just had to find the right angle, I guess. Down to a 2-on-1 with the armor generals, and the right side armor general, that one that was so desperately trying to be a solo act, is now down under 400. Now a 1-on-1 battle, and the remaining armor general already knocked down into triple digits. We've been very lucky on our casting times today. Been many a time recently where I have not been near this crisp, and it's led to some hairy situations. Looks like we've got one portal on the right side here. We'll rebuff before we get to it. Just going to walk our way to the room before. Again, get the most for our buffs. We'll pick these treasure chests up on the way back as well. More armor generals, and like a doof, I ran off to the side, which just about guarantees a little separation between them. I think we managed to catch that just before that left side one got accelerating, though. You could kind of see what started as a slow shuffle move to a slide, and that's the point where they really start hovering around the room and really making life a hassle. So once again, lucky timing, making us look far better than we actually are here. If you're just joining us, this is a grumpy old guy gaming and streaming for a rare change of pace on a Wednesday morning, doing a bit of a fragment online server rush. And you have hit us at the 2.5 hour mark in the middle of a grand finale. This is a level 98 darkness dungeon, fourth floor of which, and we are finishing off one field and dungeon on each online server that was available to us today. Actually had quite a selection, and only one of them was locked out. It seemed like a port forwarding issue, as is typically the case when you encounter that. Picked up those treasure chests. Now heading topside for the final two portals. I think we could squeeze one more portal out of these buffs. More armor generals. And we hit that spot that's just far enough away and still in McGann Rom's range. This is about how you want to be viewing armor generals, from a distance. In parties, you could always have one person run up and try and tank them, keep them in place. Somebody else better be ready with healing elixirs and, more to the point, resurrects. If you're a fan of the old Chumbawamba song Tub Thumping, they will get knocked down and need to get back up again several times. Because at the end of the day, you never want to keep them down. Moving through armor general number 2 here. Really have to appreciate a drama-free armor general run. And yeah, as expected, the buffs lasted right to the end of that battle. As per usual, the old feelings coming back, getting better into timing right as I'm about to wrap up. There's a Psyche Vision. Of course, who knows? This could be a 10-floor dungeon. If it is, this is probably a 3-hour stream, and I'm going to sound like talking sandpaper by the end of it. Thought I was monotone before. Wait till my voice goes. Psyche Vision's down to about half health. Maybe get it down under 1500 before it wakes up. Under 1000. It just came out of it with like 100 hit points left. There's some Nightshade, and there's the 4th floor, which again means we have a bit of a run back. But it's all longer area rooms, so there aren't that many to go through. Just have to make sure not to make any wrong turns. And to the 5th we go. Fifth floor, bunch of smaller rooms. We have a potential statue room off to the right side, which means we naturally have to look in every other direction first. Smaller rooms, welcome sign because we're close to the end, unwelcome sign because there's no escape. Psyche Vision here to start us off. First Moomin Life Ale's pretty hardcore. Second one connects once we finally get back into range. I must have stepped 1 or 2 steps too far. And now it's time to damage mash like nobody's business. I have noticed that a higher level enemy pool does tend to wreak havoc more so with melee classes, again, due to the melee class bent. There's 5 of them out of 6 classes to varying levels, but 5 out of 6 classes do their damage by coming up and hitting you, so you kind of expect endgame enemies to deal with the most common issues first. See what we get out of this portal. It's a risky treasure. Nice to see there. Also nice to see all these dead ends. There is only one potential chance that we have not ruled out. Now we have. They're all dead ends. This is the final floor. Yet another Psyche Vision. More welcome sights for us here in the 5th. So far, we've opened 3 portals, had 2 Psyche Visions, and a treasure chest. Really, as far as level 98 goes, that's about as nice as you're gonna get. Moving the Psyche Vision down to triple digits before it snaps out of the little nap we suggested it take, so we can, hurt it to death. Now that we're done pounding sand, basically, using McGann ROM to whittle the hit points down, as it were. Going to walk our way back up and do a quick rebuff here. Really want to be careful on this final floor. It's been a very successful run for us. And the last thing we do is, want to do is lose it all to an errant miscalculation. See what we get coming out here. Armor Generals. Awesome. Looks like a pair. Kind of liking the way this is set up because they're in a burst now, and if anything breaks free, I would think it would be the right side one, and it may just trap itself in that middle channel where the treasure chest is. If it does, we could actually run back and be completely safe from its physical attacks and hit it from the other side of that interior wall with all the McGann ROM our heart desires. Honestly, we could just do that now. If I wasn't convinced that they were so far back, they'd just wheel around the side and attack us from the flank. Doesn't appear that they're going to break free from this particular grouping, though. In fact, the right side one ended up taking the lead. Yo, Roy! How you doing? Glad you made it in for what is the finale of the finale. We've been doing a bit of an online server rush today. It, in fact, is an old guy that is grumpy. How you doing? Picked up a little bevy of treasure there. First time I've used bevy in probably half a decade. Playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV. Excellent game from what I've heard. What gaming I have done lately has been a lot of White Knight Chronicles for the PS3, but this morning felt like a fragment kind of morning, and we are certainly getting our money's worth out of this run. Astra King here on the 5th. Once again, going to race to see if we could deal 1,000 damage to it before it deals 1,000 to us, and I think we hit that mark in spades. Actually got it under half by the time that Vulcan followed through. It's also pushing us around like crazy, so there is a lovely close-up of the back of my guy's helmet. 2 more portals to go. Let's see if we could squeeze this one in before rebuffing. Be nice and fresh by the end. 1 more Psyche Vision. Once again, this floor been very, very kind to us. Even on a level 98 field, I can say that V's Place has been a very gracious host. We, of course, have done 1 field and 1 dungeon clear on each online server today. So it's been a lengthy one. Apologies in advance to anyone looking back at the video. That will include future self, because again, I am really curious to hear just how god-awful I sounded this morning. I haven't heard too much about Final Fantasy XIV lately, but I do know the folks that I knew that played it quite a bit and still hang out there. Still a fairly vibrant community on the game. I have noticed, as far as the MMO Final Fantasies go, they tend to have a bit of a hiccup at first. And then as the years go on, they sort of age well. They almost get a second and third life, as it were. Of course, that seems to be how most games work these days, I guess. The community is great, always great to hear. If you don't mind me asking, what class are you running in it? Got a solo armor general here for the clear. So all I have to do is keep the L2 button depressed, and The Armor General depressed as well. Just tapping square here for damage to win. Playing Ninja. Nice. Paladin and White Mage. Solid picks. I don't know why. Maybe it's the all-arounder nature. Maybe it's the fact that I enjoy a good hat. But I get the feeling if I were to play Final Fantasy XIV, I'd just Red Mage. Because Red Mage. Picking up the Ultimate Spear. Along with a pair of Emperor's Souls. Ultimate Spear is a level 86er for long arms there. Got some great abilities and Spirit Drain. Sprite Ocarina out of here. Gonna head back and settle up at the shop. Probably not fully, because this is V's place, and it's Carmina Gadalika, so I can't buy all of those elixirs I just drained through. But it certainly was a good run. Yeah, that's 2 hours, 40 minutes of fragment gameplay there, with a little 5-minute detour to look through the sword collection. And that, in fact, was a full field and dungeon clear for each online server available. Going to make quite a bit of gold off of that run. Yeah, Nightshade only sells for about 500, which is still decent. Sell this 2 cooked bile while I'm at it. Didn't use an artisan soul. Lucky in that respect. So I will have to remember sometime in the future here to pop into another server and pick up some healing elixirs. In the meantime, I'm going to head off because my poor family has been sitting here trying to be as quiet as possible for at least an hour now. And I thank them for doing that. Roy, thank you for stopping by. Thank everyone who stopped by. Comments, conversation, even just hanging out and watching me monotone on and on and on. It's all appreciated. And I do hope this has been entertaining. This has been a Grumpy Old Guy Gaming. I can't really say as usual because infrequent seems to be my word of 2023. But I do promise, if an opportunity presents itself, I will try and get on, if only to say hi. Hope you're all doing well, and hope to catch you in the not too distant future.